Ladies and gentlemen, there seem to be a couple of traitors in our midst, and no, I'm not kidding. If you haven't been keeping up with the news, of course I'm talking about Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal. So I'm going to try to paint this picture for you so you understand exactly where I'm coming from. Senators Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal book a trip to Kyiv, which by the way cost the American taxpayers $814,806. Here are the receipts. Somebody please explain to me how a hotel stay cost almost $1 million. Was the place plated in solid gold? So anyways, during this trip, two major things happened. One, these guys told Zelensky, it doesn't matter what Trump says, the US is pledging support for Ukraine, we're going to get you through this thing. Don't worry about Trump, we've got this bill coming through, we have the House, the Senate, even if he tries to veto it, we're going to override him. They're pledging support in spite of what the White House is trying to do pertaining to Ukraine. Then, one day after they land in Kyiv, Zelensky pulls off what is actually a brilliant operation called Operation Spiderweb, in which, according to Zelensky, 117 drones were used to take out 41 Russian aircraft. Now, Ukraine has come out and said that the White House was not made privy to, nor did they authorize this strike. But ask yourself, how does this make us look to Russia? They're not very happy about it. Now, according to Zelensky, this took 18 months to plan, but it just so happened to take place exactly one day after American congresspeople landed in Ukraine. Now, here's where we get down to it. According to the Logan Act of 1799, it prohibits U.S. citizens from engaging in unauthorized correspondence or intercourse with foreign governments or their representatives with the intent to influence their actions or defeat U.S. measurements in disputes. Pause. Now, the first thing here is going to be influencing their actions. They were clearly influenced even if the United States wasn't involved because these guys are pushing for more war. The very next day, peace talks were set to take place in Turkey. Now, how do you think that's going to go? Those peace talks were U.S. measures. It also prohibits unauthorized private diplomacy with foreign nations. It prohibits unauthorized correspondence. It prohibits U.S. citizens from communicating with foreign governments without the authority of the United States government. So I think that's pretty cut and dry. These two are acting on behalf of the United States without the consent of the administration. They are criminals. Now, Steve Bannon had a few good things to say about this, so I'll show you that now.
People are not awake of what is happening throughout the world and how we're being sucked in, and supposedly by somebody we support like Zelensky, to know that he never gave the White House a heads up. He never asked permission to do this. He would do really a brilliant but a deep strike into part of their nuclear, essentially taking out our B-52s, which these old Russian planes are. It's outrageous. And Lindsey Graham all weekends over there stirring the pot. We can't have people over there telling the Ukrainians that we're going to back more. What we're trying to do is calm this down. What President Trump is trying to say is like, look, let's get to a ceasefire. Let's put our weapons down. Let's talk peace and prosperity. We don't support the economic deal, but President Trump is saying he needs it as a central part of a peace plan. But we can't have Lindsey Graham, and particularly Zelensky, leading us into a third world war with a deep strike into Russia. And Putin came back today and said, hey, we're going to get to the bottom of this, and we're going to see who's accountable in Ukraine and beyond. And that was a message to the United States.
Then the White House has to condemn this immediately and pull all support and tell Lindsey Graham, come home. Or we're going to put you under arrest when you come home. You're stirring it up. Lindsey Graham's over there saying, hey, forget Trump. I got the House and the Senate. We're gonna pass him. You're going to see something in a couple of days. Remember that? He's stirring it up over there. He's telling me they got backing. If they did not give us a heads up on this, full stop, no minerals deal, walk away from all of it. They're irresponsible. They're dragging us into a kinetic third world war. As we said, we're getting dragged in now. Or the deep state is driving us in there. Either of these are not good. Tulsi Gabbard's got to let us know. Did anyone in Intel at all have anything to do with this? Did anybody have a heads up? Did anybody? And if not, who the hell's running the Ukraine desk? Who's running the Russia desk? Same thing with Ratcliffe. This is why Cash and Bongino and Pam Bondi, you got to clear out the deep state. This is a ticking time bomb. And you see what they're going to get us into. Because now inexorably we're being drawn into this. If we didn't know about it, the president to me has got to condemn it and got to say we're not going to give it any more support because these people cannot be trusted. You're supposed to be in Turkey today talking peace, not 3,000 miles into Russia blowing up their strategic bombers.
You know, since January 2023, if you look at Lindsey Graham's flight logs, it shows that he took 6 trips to Ukraine, but only 2 trips to South Carolina, the state he was elected to represent. It sort of makes you wonder where his priorities lie. Because liberal, if you like what I do, please leave a like, they really help. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.
Curious. Your friends appear to be quite desperate, Jack. Perhaps they no longer believe that a gathering of squabbling pirates can defeat the Flying Dutchman. And so despair leads to betrayal. But you and I are no strangers to betrayal, are we?
Close your eyes and pretend it's all a bad dream. That's how I get by.